Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of the Discipline Therapy Podcast. I'm your host, EL Discipline. Alongside me always is your other host.
Suhey Sotomayor.
This is your Discipline Therapy. As a matter of fact, do you want to do the Discipline Therapy thing?
No, I didn't memorize it. I could
We could collab.
you could fill in the
We
blanks.
could collab.
All right.
This is your
Discipline therapy.
where everything is
Free.
If you subscribe,
It's free.
it's judgment,
Free.
sucker,
Free.
censor,
Free.
sensitive,
Free.
and plenty of
Liberty.
God and
The ancient ancestors.
are great, and that means everything else is straight. So go grab your wine.
Make sure the kids are in bed.
This is that soul food talk.
That's prepare your mind to be fed.
Light one up, inhale life, and exhale strife. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, you are tuned in to the Discipline Therapy Podcast. We're here. Before we start, I just want to say that this episode is sponsored by Andrea Johnson Books Publishing, also known as AJB Publishing. Andrea Johnson is the founder of AJB Publishing, an independently Black-owned and operated rising organization established in 2017 within the Dallas-Fort Worth community. An interesting combination between traditional and self-publishing industry. AJB Publishing has something for everyone. If you're interested in becoming an author like myself, or in the market for books that stand out, visit their website at www.ajbpublishing.com. Once again, www.ajbpublishing.com. Touch something that will open your mind. And also, I know you're about to say something.
I was gonna ask, is she? I know we're having a special
Yes,
guest.
she's
All
the
right.
special guest, a special caller. So she's actually on the call right now. Hey, Andrea, how you doing?
Hi, how are you?
Good. How you doing?
Hi, how's everything?
Hi, I'm doing great. Thank you guys for having me.
We appreciate you for being a guest on the Discipline Therapy Podcast. And
I'm really excited. Yes.
yeah, and we have our topic today is, what's the topic today?
Why Black Lives Matter?
Why Black Lives Matter. So, like, my question for you is, like, as a Black independent entrepreneur, you know, like, what type of, I'm not going to ask you, like, if you've ever experienced bigotry, because I'm sure you have, but what?
Mhm.
I wanted to ask her that because in her field, I want to know what she came up against as a Black woman entrepreneur.
Absolutely. Well, just to let you know, as a Black woman in America, there are already challenges stacked against you in the job market, in education, and especially in business. You're perceived as this angry Black woman if you assert yourself, yet you're taken advantage of if you remain silent. So as a Black woman in business, you have to find your balance. You have to acquire skin thick enough to take on any obstacle, yet remain humble enough to allow success to take you to the next level. This is just some of the challenges that I've faced so far.
Wow. And you've faced those challenges your whole life. Did you think when you were building up your business that it was going to be about the same? Is it just as hard? Is it harder, or were you pleasantly surprised and you were like, oh, it's not that bad?
It gets harder the more
harder.
successful you become. I've been in sales and marketing for a little over 18 years. And I have 12 books published out currently right now. And more
Your
to
own?
come. Yes.
Ooh,
Yes, I
that's
do.
good.
So
Congratulations.
I've been in the publishing industry for a while. And so there are a lot of challenges that I faced in the beginning, but it only increases as you go forward. The more successful you become, the more challenges that you face. Every obstacle I see has been even more encompassing.
I'm sorry to cut you off. We actually have
Mhm.
a resume your resume to read for the
To the
audience,
public?
so they can know who you are.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Andrea Johnson is the founder of AJB Publishing and is the author of 12 books such as the critically acclaimed books The Gates Keeper and The Embryos. She is also the owner of a marketing and insurance agency. Look at you, wear a hat, many hats, don't you? She has taken her knowledge of over 10 years in the publishing industry to form a company that caters to individuals looking to bring their vision to light, giving authors a combination of traditional publishing with the benefits of the self-publishing industry. Andrea is a rising entrepreneur that believes success is a mindset. Always set your mind to success. Now, let me ask you a question. You said you have 12 books published. I'm assuming that you had your first book published with a separate company, not your own?
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So when you were doing that, did you find, was it difficult when you were first trying to get your book published? And because of that, what do you tell other authors who are looking to get published? What kind of guidance do you give them?
Okay, absolutely. That's a really good question too. And I had a lot of challenges in the beginning as far as publishing, and that's one of the reasons why I learned how to get into the industry, more information so that I could start my own. When I first published my first book, I realized some of the challenges with editing. Really, the editing, you really need to have great resources for editing when it comes to the self-publishing industry, because not only we're talking about prices a lot of times really knocks a lot of individuals out of the market for self-publishing, because that's something that you need to acquire on your own or have the resources set up to do. If you don't have absolute and great editing, it could really hurt your marketing and your chances for even furthering your success in the publishing industry. Credibility is everything. And when individuals look at you and they look at your work, that is what they're going based on. So some of the challenges that I realized in the beginning was I needed a lot more resources set up for me. And there just wasn't that many out there at that time. And this was back in 2008 when I first started. So I realize now that the resources that are out there, it gets more and more expensive and more challenging for individuals to really set up some type of platform for themselves. So why not help individuals do that? And that's how AJD Publishing was formed. We're a little bit between traditional and self-publishing, giving people an opportunity, to have the benefits of the traditional, where you have a publishing company that's going to market you, they're going to represent you, they're going to put you out there. You don't have to find the resources by yourself, but you also have a lot of your rights. You get to keep a lot of your rights in traditional industry.
Yeah. No,
exactly.
she said you own an insurance company, correct?
Yeah.
So have you faced like obstacles with perhaps embarking into this venture, licenses or loans because of like the color of your skin or who you are? Like, have you faced those type of obstacles?
Oh, absolutely.
Because I'm gonna talk about systemic racism this episode.
Okay.
So like as a black entrepreneur, business owner, it's already it's already difficult.
Yes, it is.
And I feel like as blacks, browns, like we need to come together. We need to build each other, give back to each other like the whites do it,
Yes,
like the
do.
Chinese do it, like the Asians do it. I mean, I feel like black people's most black people, I'm not gonna say all black people, most black people's their like their kryptonite is like sticking together or like supporting one another. You know what I mean?
But a lot of the reasons for that, I personally believe, is a lot of the stigmatization that people of color have found in the media. It's because of what is displayed, and I personally believe that it's designed to cause segregation and separation, things of that nature among our own race. Because the less you are informed about what's going on, the more privy you will be to all of the influences out there that are telling you this is the way it is.
Indeed.
Okay, so I strongly believe it's the media influence a lot of times and lack of knowledge. Just the lack of knowledge, that certain individuals have, not all, but certain individuals just don't inform themselves enough to really stay on top of what you need to know based on what the information you're given via
Yeah.
social media.
Yeah. So what do you think about defunding the police? Because this year has been crazy with the whole global pandemic, and we're witnessing all this police brutality and murder with black
It's like
people.
they don't even take a day off for a pandemic even.
You know what I mean?
Jeez.
Like, what do you think about it? What's your perspective, or what's your opinion?
Here's the thing with defunding the police. That's one way. I look at it, that's one way. But I believe actually it's not going to change anything. And here's why. I believe if you want the police brutality to stop, it's got to come from the top. Retraining the police force.
Yeah.
But that's not going to happen unless something changes in Congress. The real problem is that some of the same people who made decisions back when our grandparents were kids are still in office.
Yeah.
And we can make all the noise we want, but what we really need is term limits in Congress because
That's a
we
good
have
point.
limits for the presidency.
That's a good
Only
point you
8
made.
years for a presidency. Who's leading the country? But a person can hold seat in Congress till they die. And that's the problem. And we're not going to see real change until it touches the top. For example, Cori Bush. She's a nurse and a Black Lives Matter activist. She recently won the Democratic primary against Missouri Representative William Lacey Clay. He was in office for more than half a century. Okay? This is the type of change that we need. This is what's going to spiral down and help us to really make a movement in the Black Lives Matter, in my opinion.
You're right.
I agree. That's a good point that
It
you
is
made.
a good point. Yeah. So
So when you were diving into this, getting your own publishing company out, how nervous were you? Like were you like, what am I doing?
were
Do
you
I really want to
nervous?
do
Were
this?
you nervous at all?
Oh, absolutely. If you're not nervous going into something new, then there's definitely something wrong there. Because you have to acquire new knowledge. You have to be receptive to learning everything that you need to know in order to be equipped to handle the challenges that are going to come. So, absolutely, yes,
Mo-
I was nervous, but
Did
what
you
I
feel
had
like
to
you were
do was
ready?
really just find out more. I'm
Mo-
sorry, what was that?
Did you feel like you were ready, or were you like, once you started, you were like, what I do?
I do feel like I was ready, simply because um, aligning myself with different publishing companies that were in the industry, I gathered all the information that I needed to know beforehand. The pros and the cons concerning the disadvantages in the publishing industry. What is needed? What is lacking right now? What could we use more of? All of these had to be taken into context before really moving forward in something like this, so that I could really deliver the best product necessary to really help individuals out there. So yes, I was definitely nervous, but I felt as if I was ready to face the challenges necessary at that point in time.
I mean, most black people, when you begin something on your own, you're pretty much doing it on your own. It's hard to find help.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I feel like
You're right.
they will say it. They will say, "Oh, they did it themselves," but nobody's doing anything themselves. You need a team. You need a team.
Did you have a team?
Mm-hmm. When I first started out, it was basically just me. When I first started out, I had individuals who were helping me as far as like giving me ideas on promotion. But when I first started out, I really took this venture out on my own and, kind of independently contracted to other individuals. But I didn't have anyone physically with me as I do now,
Oh, that's
So
good. Wow. So you've
sometimes
grown.
sometimes you do have to start out on your own. You start small and then you kind of just grow from there. A lot of individuals feel like, okay, I need to have all of this, starting out. And sometimes I feel that's the misconception that actually helps, because
You
the
just
first
build as you
5
grow.
years in business, exactly, the first 5 years in business really is touch and go.
Yeah.
Okay. As you're growing your business, there's a lot of, profit, loss, and gain.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to
You're
really
usually
look at
just
the
breaking
bottom
even,
line.
right? At that point, if that.
I'm sorry, could you repeat that? I
Repeat it,
didn't
yeah.
hear you.
The first 5 years, you're just really kind of breaking even, right? When you're starting out, you're not really making too much of a profit.
Exactly, because you're still growing, right? You're still growing in business. The first 5 years, any business representative would tell you the first 5 years is really, you're just kind of breaking even. You're really not going to see a real profit until after the first 5 years. So really the first 5 years is like you're just marketing, you're pushing, you're really just promoting your brand and getting out there as much as you can so that people can know you, and you're building your self-worth as a
Now,
whole. So
now,
yeah, absolutely.
did you have any did you face any racism or any kind of tension like that with one of your own authors, or are your authors all people of color?
Actually, well, most of my authors are all, people of color at this time, because we publish all different types of genres. Most of our authors that we currently have right now
But
are
you don't.
all
But you
people
don't
of color.
discriminate. But you don't discriminate. It's just.
Absolutely not.
It's just the way that
It just
Absolutely
happens
not.
it just
that way.
happens. Yeah.
Exactly. We just happen to have predominantly Black authors right now, but we publish all from all different backgrounds, all different types of genres. And yes, some of our authors have faced different criticisms based on their work or based on what they're doing. Absolutely. But one of the things that we love to do and encourage is support our authors, support their vision, and encourage them to keep moving forward, encourage them to allow their creative voices to be heard, regardless of the challenges that you are and will face. That's a given. That's definitely a given. You will face challenges as an author or just as an entrepreneur itself. Being Black in America, is a challenge in and of itself. So as a business,
especially nowadays,
entrepreneur, it's even more.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I know that you have a meeting soon.
Wait,
So
can I ask you one last
so I
question?
wanted to go ahead and then I'll ask her.
Okay.
I'll tell her mine.
Out of all of your authors, which one's your favorite?
Out of all of my authors,
Choose
I love all of
wisely.
my. I love all of my authors.
That's
I
a
love
good question.
all of my
That's a good
authors.
answer.
Right. Good answer,
Good
Angia.
answer.
All my
Good
favorite.
answer.
As people don't,
Smart
as people
woman.
may not know or do know, I published 3 books with Andrea Johnson. The Importance of Discipline, the Discipline's World,
Yay.
and the Immortality of
Immortality, yep.
Discipline. So yeah, I
Yes,
published with
EL
AJB
Discipline.
Publishing when I think you were just coming out with AJB Publishing.
Yes,
Yeah.
EL Discipline.
So
One of our first authors.
for me to witness you
The growth.
flourish and your growth,
How does that make you feel?
it's like it's great. You know what I mean?
You were like,
Because
I picked the right one
we both took a chance
on
upon
each other. Yeah,
You know
that's
what I
nice.
mean? Like it was like
Yeah.
my first year about being author, because I published my first book in 2017 as well. You know what I mean? Like after that, like I published it with a different publishing company, but my second book I published with AJB.
That's when
so
you
it's
found
still it's still brand new.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So yeah,
So congratulations to both of you for finding each
Yeah.
other like that. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Last but not least, last thing I wanted to ask you before you go, because I know you have a meeting. You're constantly on the go. That's why we appreciate you calling in. You had you had like a book expo this month. How did it go?
Yes. Oh man, that was so exciting. We had a wonderful time. We had an expo at the Dallas Women's Expo, and we met a lot of wonderful entrepreneurs, a lot of individuals who are up and coming in the business industry, and we did a lot of networking and sold books. So
That's
it was
awesome.
amazing. It was a raving success, and we're looking forward to it. It's really crunch time right now because we've got 3 releases coming out this month alone in October, and we've
That's
got some
great.
in November. So we are really on fire, and we're excited about the things to come.
That's awesome. I'm looking forward to it because I know these 3 books are phenomenal. I read those 3 books. I'll be certain to look out for the new ones that you have coming out too.
Thank you so much. Yes, yes. And oh my gosh, thank you guys for having me today on the Discipline Therapy podcast. It's been such a pleasure. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for calling in.
Thank you.
Okay.
All the way down?
Yeah.
Hey, I learned some things. Some things I learned. Some things stick.
Yeah. New equipment. Working with the Zoom H6. You know what I mean? Some new equipment we got.
What's that? I think something else is new.
Oh, this is the Shure SM7B.
Ooh, I've never seen you smile like that.
This is the Shure. This is the Shure SM7B. Just to give people just a brief synopsis or history on this mic, and then we're gonna get back into the topic.
Jump right back in there.
This mic was recorded Thriller, Michael Jackson. Yeah, but this is the newer version. That one was recorded with the SM7. This one's an SM7B. Yeah. Yeah, so that whole album Thriller was recorded with this type of mic.
No wonder you sound like Michael.
No,
not at all. Not at all. That's the complete opposite. His voice is super high and yours is super low.
Yeah, he's the original pop king. I could never sound like him.
No.
All right, so let's get into it, right?
Let's do it. Let's jump right in there.
All right, so why Black Lives Matter is a title in my second book, The Importance of Discipline. So this is pretty much like Racism in America Part 3. This last season we did 1 and 2. This is almost like Part 3. So like what I want to talk about is like how there's just the history of Black people, because in school they just have a brief session of like
they were slaves and that's about it.
Yeah, slavery and civil rights movement. Those are the only things you realize. You're supposed to know when Martin Luther King, his birthday is, and slavery, but you're not. They don't teach you about Malcolm X. They don't teach you about the Black Panthers.
Well, they kind of do, but they label him as a troublemaker.
Yeah. And you know, like Black people need to understand that every pyramid that was made by a Black. You know what I mean? The ancient Egyptians, and this goes back.
I mean, we could even go with the Bible, even though no offense to any, holy rollers or anything like that. To me, the Bible's a book that was written by man, but even in there, it says Jesus was of woolly hair, sun-kissed skin, and of woolly hair.
Jesus was Black,
right? Exactly, but that's exactly what they're saying in the Bible. How they came out with a blonde hair, blue-eyed, Jesus is beyond me. I have no idea. Because if you read it, that's exactly what it says.
I just want to say rest in peace to Chadwick Boseman. Because we know him as Black Panther.
Yeah.
And like back in like 2014, like when they came out with like Hollywood came out with like Gods of Egypt, and I was throwing a rant because I'm like, there's no Black people on set. These guys are getting tans. They're doing push-ups or whatever to get their bodies right between sets, and it's like I was like, why won't Hollywood allow a Black man to finally play on screen what he rightfully is, which is a king? You know what I mean? So like 2018, I think that's when the February
I think
2018 is, or was it 2016?
No, 18. That's more recent. It's Black Panther's more recent. You're talking about Black Panther?
Yeah.
18.
It was 18? Okay. Like we finally witnessed this. And it was like we get to see something that's prominent. Like we get to see us prominent, not playing pharmaceutical street suppliers or criminals or
maids and butlers.
Maids and butlers incarcerated. You know what I mean? Like those type of characters. You know, we get to witness.
It's always like the second type role, like the B class.
Yeah.
And it was so sad because you see when he died, and then I know when I was on Instagram, all these little kids crying because that they could identify finally. They had somebody to identify
that's what I'm
with.
saying. Like
they had their own little ceremonies with their guys for him.
Yeah.
That was a tragic loss.
You know what I mean? So like I'm gonna run through some stuff because I
Okay.
have a lot of things to say. Fox News was created by a black man. The light bulb was created by a black man.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna get into depth. Do your own research. It's like there's people who state race doesn't matter. If it doesn't exist, right? Take it off job applications. Take it off credit card applications.
If it doesn't matter,
rental applications. You know what I mean? Because it's like
everything,
this
school,
is what I'm
everything.
talking about with the systemic racism.
Yeah. No, I agree with you.
You know what I mean? And it's like, yo, this is all part of white supremacy, I believe. But what I've been preaching for the longest time is like sharing the wealth.
Mm-hmm.
Like I feel like the hood was created for a reason. It's like everybody got dropped off in different areas. And it's like the hood was created for
To keep people down?
not just that. I look at it like low income is equate to high crime.
Yes.
So
agree.
it's like crime literally pays. Judges, criminal defense attorneys,
I see what you did there. Crime literally pays. I like it.
criminal defense attorneys, police officers.
All of them.
You know what I mean? So like this is what I feel like. This is one of the things why I always look at it like if you why and I don't have anything against people who do this. Like when they make it, they go back to the hood and they want to start businesses or whatever it is. Do you. But my mentality is I don't ever want to do that. And people are gonna take this away or whatever. They might call me a coon, a house nigga, whatever. But the thing is, I look at it like the hood was never ours. That's the way I look at it. You can't change anything in the hood. You might build a grocery store or whatever it is. You're gonna have not everybody's gonna be for you for the hood. So if you could put things in there and you're trying to help people, you know, in that community or whatever, you're still gonna have those bad apples who are gonna probably come into that grocery store and steal. And you might let them get away with it a few times. But when you look at your metrics and you look at the expenses, the paperwork and all the reports at the end of the year, and you see a big discrepancy, you know what I mean? Like you're hurting your business more than you're helping your business. I believe you make it, start businesses in high income environments so your business can thrive alone. You make passive income. Hold on. You make passive income and then you hire people that look like you.
But now,
go ahead.
But now, okay, so you're doing that in a high end type of neighborhood. Those people that you're going to hire now still have to commute from their, environment now into this one. And if you're talking about a higher end, I mean, aren't there going to be more white people there?
No, there's all colors of people everywhere.
Yeah, there is.
It's not just white people that's in Williamsburg, Brooklyn, or Beverly Hills. You know
That's
what I mean?
true.
So like,
But trying to get, I mean, I understand what you're saying, but I think in reference to the bad apples, there's going to be bad apples everywhere.
well,
And if you're putting back into your old community, there's a possibility that you can be giving somebody a job opportunity.
There's a hood in every community. So even if you build something like, let's say you build something in let's take Dumbo for example, because that's a really high income environment for Brooklyn.
Mm-hmm.
Dumbo, right? But you have somebody that lives in Flatbush. It's not that far.
It's not. But have you been to Flatbush? That's changing too.
I'm from Flatbush. You know what I mean? But like, it's there's a hood in every city. There's a hood in every town. You know what I mean? So it's not like I just look at it like, yo, the projects don't belong to you. It's not like you bought the city. To each their own. Do you? But my mentality, it's like I would not want to do that. Because number one, I want my business to thrive. That's number one.
Right.
But number two, I'm going to be looking to help people of my like that look like me to be in there. Like, why can't a black person work in the Beverly Hills, in a Beverly Hills store? You mean even if
Why
they're not,
not?
even
They
if they're
could.
not from there, they might be from Crenshaw or Compton or something. Why can't they work there? You know what I mean? It's hard when you do this stuff in the hood. You hire somebody that looks like you in the hood, right? Somebody from the hood comes in who's a bad apple. They're gonna see that person that looks a color, and he's gonna be like, "Yo, give me a 5-finger discount."
Mm.
You know what I mean? Yo, you black like
Instead of
me.
just
You black like
paying.
me. Yo, look out for me and stuff like that. That's his job on the line.
Yeah.
There's people like that think like this. So it's like, to me, it's like, it's the hood's not gonna change. Like, you cannot change it because people that created it are not gonna allow you to. You feel
Well,
me?
I
That's
think
why I
that
say
goes
the
back
hood is
to
not yours. It's not
yeah.
ours. There's nothing we could do about it. We could try to reform as much as we can, but it's not going to change because the people, and I will say the people, you know what I mean? They want it to stay that way because they have ulterior motives.
Right. They have their thumb on
Yeah.
people there. Right. They can't move or do anything.
That's why, like, mass incarceration, blacks
Yeah.
and browns. This goes back to like the plantations now. You know what I mean? All over it. This is new slavery. This is new slavery.
And it's, I mean, we've spoken about this with the, you know, in the previous in season 1 about how a black woman and a white woman can do the same, or black man, white man, it doesn't matter. Black and white do the same crime, and the blacks get like such a more harsher penalty.
Yeah, and this goes back to like what Andre was talking about
Yeah.
with these people that are in, you know what I mean, in office for life. And it's like what I mentioned back in last season is this is institutional bias.
Mm.
Because like these judges are white, these cops are white, these prosecutors are white, they all hang out, they all work together. Like, I see you every day. You're like my work brother, or my work sister, or my work husband, or my work wife. I see you every day. So don't worry, bro. I'm gonna take care of you.
Yeah.
I've listened to videos
That's
where
scary.
those cops was like, "Yo, I messed up. I shot him." Like, don't worry, we're
You
gonna
know
take
what's
care of
scary?
you.
Seeing
I've heard it on video. Don't worry, we're gonna take care of you. What
seeing the
happened?
DA and the prosecutors and like your lawyers, they're all like, "Hi, how you doing? How's everything?" That's scary
Yeah.
because you're like, you're my lawyer. Why are you, you know,
Yeah, and
schmoozing up with them?
I'm glad we're talking about this because the white young male, the 17-year-old who was killing protesters in Kenosha,
Ugh, I don't even want to get
and the
started with that
cops were
guy.
allowing him to escape. Yo, I saw a video where the cops were like, "Oh, we can't handle them or whatever. We're gonna give them to you."
Yeah, they're gonna chase them towards down the end of the street and let those young kids get
This
them. Right?
stuff is scary.
It's beyond
You
scary.
understand? Like, I don't care how tough you are as a black person, Hispanic, person of color. This gives you anxiety.
Yeah.
You know what I
And
mean?
you know what else? It's not normal and it's not okay for people of color to see another person of color being murdered on the
No,
internet, and then like
no.
it's
And
almost we're so desensitized to it.
thank
That's not
God,
normal.
thank God there's a plethora of people who are nosy.
Yes.
Because, like, the recording it first started in 1991 with Rodney King. The guy was on his balcony.
No, he was in the car. He was in the car.
He was
Yeah.
filming?
Oh, the guy filming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was on the balcony. So, like, if like, this is we're witnessing this because we're witnessing it. It's being recorded. But there's so much going on that's like not being recorded. It's being pushed under the rug. Lynchings are happening.
Let's go back to Breonna Taylor. How they said, "Oh, we're only going to charge one officer." Not even about how many bullets were entered her house or any bullets that hit her. They're charging that one bullet, that one officer, because his bullet missed her and went into another apartment. It's the only one. What is that? And with, you know, her boyfriend there, fiance there, we already know that the warrant was bad, or they didn't even have a warrant. They were at the wrong apartment. And so it doesn't really matter almost.
Yo, and these guys are getting
being
off.
filmed.
These guys are getting off.
It's ridiculous.
Every time these guys are getting off, they're not being held accountable. They're not getting harsh punishments, and it goes back to what I was saying. But I this goes back to last season in episode 9 when I was asking the questions. When I was asking the questions about do they feel like blacks are not citizens? Is that why these police are getting off for lynching them?
That must be it.
With everything going on,
I feel like even though people are recording it and it's black and white in your face, like there's no other possible way, it's right there. It doesn't even matter because they're gonna find a way to dismiss something. They're gonna make up some new law that's gonna be. Well, they were trying to say that we can't record them. That was something, and obviously that's a lie.
Yeah, but you gotta know your rights.
You really do have to. But even
you have to
then,
know your
even
you
then,
have to know your
there
First
was-
Amendment right. You have to know your Fourth Amendment
You
right.
could know all the amendments, and you can be saying yes sir, no sir, and it doesn't matter if you get that bad cop.
Yeah,
If you get that racist cop, it doesn't matter.
yeah, it's true, but you still should know your rights. You should know the
You
laws
should.
of the land that you live in, because then it will allow you
Not
to
really.
to how to approach certain situations.
I saw on Instagram a lawyer who was driving, and he knows, obviously he's a lawyer, knows the law. He got pulled over, and they were like, "Well, you can't film." He was like, "Yes, I can. Why can't I film? Like, it's a law." And he's like, "No, it's not." And they even treated him bad, and he knows the law. It's such a scary world that we live in now. And the only thing that makes it scary is the government, and the police. I actually wanted an officer, any officer, to call in because I would love to ask them questions, not to berate them, not to
That's difficult.
I'm finding
they have a certain position.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
I feel like they can't talk about things.
I have a best friend and a cousin who are police officers. One's Nassau and the other's Suffolk. And it's like, I asked my cousin, but it's, you know what I mean? I understand.
Yeah,
you know what I
no.
mean? You
Obviously, it's their job too.
Yeah, so it's, it's hard. You know what I mean? It's kind of hard to put them in that type of position because, like, come on, this is going to be out there. We got billionaires.
I mean,
listening to this.
It's going to be out there, but that's exactly why.
You know what I mean? I know, but it's like
if
actions speak louder than words. Actions speak louder than words. At the end of the day, like you said last season with the racism, right? They need to hold their own partner accountable.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So actions speak louder than words. Like somebody could come on here and say, yeah, this is what needs to be done and this, that, but they're doing the total opposite.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Actions speak louder than words. So, ultimately.
Which is funny that you say that because I know, that I work in a hospital and, a lot of my nurses post stuff and I've seen it more recently, them saying if they go into the wrong patient's room and administer the wrong medication, and that person dies, they're losing their license, they're losing their job,
Absolutely.
and they're gonna get charged.
Absolutely, as they should, though.
And exactly, as they should. So why is it that police officers, it's okay for them to shoot somebody in the back while they are running? It's okay for them to shoot a man 7 times while he's getting peacefully into his car in front of his children.
Jacob
Why?
Blake.
Why is that okay? And they get a slap on the wrist, if that. But a nurse working 12-hour shifts, and I'm not saying that it's okay for a nurse to get the patients confused, but if it's good for one employee type, then it should be across the board.
Yeah, it's hard.
Don't get me started. Don't get me started.
What you're saying is right, 100%. But we have these people that are in office. We have these people that are like in charge of this stuff, judges, prosecutors, and whatnot. It's the people that are in charge. Most people that are in those positions of power are not black. Things are starting to change a little bit. But, those people that are really pulling the strings are like, all right, we're going to give you this. Oh, you're not going to get above this. There's a glass ceiling on you. Y'all can't get higher than this. You're not gonna ever be eating at the table with us. But y'all could
We
get
gotta
that.
flip their table
It's like a
around.
CEO of a company. Like they'd be like a white CEO of a company, right? Hypothetical situation. We gonna eat at the table with all white CEO. We'll make you a manager though.
You can clean our table.
Yeah, we'll make you a manager. We'll give you employees to run, but you will never be a CEO with us. It's a
Mm,
glass ceiling for you.
yeah,
They may not articulate that,
right.
but there's certain actions or it's indirect.
And they're so slick about it that they make it sound like it's really good.
Yeah, it's like if you work at a job at a corporation, you know, black again, right? Because this is why Black Lives Matter. So we're gonna talk about race and
Let's do it.
you're a black woman or black male. You work for a corporation, and like this, like the CEO or even like your manager, they give you work overload, and you just you're constantly exceeding expectations, right?
That's me all the time.
So now you're you know you're the guy or the girl to go to deal with everything. You could be doing other people's jobs, picking up the slack of the team, whatever. And your boss, instead of him giving you more money and better working conditions, he or she might say, "Oh, let me buy you lunch, or let
Mm,
me buy you a drink." Like I could buy my own drink,
right. And
right?
expect that to be okay.
But it's like, yeah, that's like racism
Yeah.
in a way. It's like new racism. Because back in the day, they was in the cotton field sweating and, you know, getting black from the sun.
Mm,
They working their asses off. They barely got water. And if they did, it was like thrown on them or
yeah.
whatever. But that's like the new racism.
Yeah. No, I agree with you.
Yeah. So it's like my question is like, okay, sports industry, music industry. Okay, country music was black. Music now is dominated by black. Dances originated in Africa. Slangs, dance styles, physiques, film, television shows, reggae. Bob Marley. Bob Marley created the reggae beat in his basement. Reggaeton.
Mm-hmm.
They got that from that. You know what I mean? Like people need to celebrate black people more. The February is not enough.
Mm,
Black History Month for February is not enough. You know what I mean? Like it's like and like I'm gonna go into depth with even further like when blacks and like whether a woman, male or female, become successful. I get this question all the time. Why, and by black women, why is it that a successful black man will go after a white woman?
or light skin.
Yeah, I get that. I get that question all the time. And
So
it's
what's the
like,
answer?
well, it goes in depth.
Does it go into another topic that we're gonna have?
Yeah, it might go into another topic. But like part of it is it's like when a black man becomes successful, he most likely lives in a high income environment. And if you're in a high income environment where there's not a lot of people that look like you, that's number one,
Mm,
right? That's number one. Number two is most black men are alpha males. So, and most black women are alpha females. And if there's no submission on one
either.
part or whatever, both parts, it's not gonna work.
Mm,
You know what I mean? Like, that's the reality. A lot of people don't want to hear that, but that's the reality. Black women, when they get successful, they they um they have this sense of like I'm independent, I'm
I don't
strong,
need a
I
man.
don't need a man and stuff like that. And that tears those men who are strong away. Because if a man feels like you don't need him, he's not going to want to stick around. It might just be for sex.
Mm. I mean, but if she's thinking like, I don't need a man. Maybe it's because her man left her for a white guy, for a white woman. Maybe that's why she's like that.
It goes more in depth because Black women are not privileged. That's why. That's one of the reasons. So it's like when you get this level of success, you now have a high consciousness of like you believe a sense of entitlement with everything, especially in that relationship. But it's like, what are you willing to offer? Attitudes and all this other stuff. You can probably take care of a man financially and all this other stuff, but these men who are dominant, who are alpha and Black males, because let's be honest, you don't know this, but a lot of people won't admit it. The lion is the representation of a Black man. And everybody knows the lion to be strong. So they kind of correlate that with the Black man. That's why we dominate in sports. That's why we dominate in the music industry and all these other dances. They're stealing everything from us. You know what I mean? We are the inventors. Black people invented all these inventions that you could think of. The telephone, the light bulb, all these things were created by Blacks. But in school, we don't. Don't we know Thomas Edison to create the light bulb? No, that's
Alexander
false.
Graham Bell, for the
That's
phone.
false. And they will try to eradicate the truth from Google. So when you try to search in Google to see what it is, they will eradicate. You got to go more in depth.
That's crazy.
You got to go more in depth for these research.
That's insane.
You got to go to specific libraries. You got to go to these different sites and stuff like that. You understand?
Yeah. That's a sickness. Like to erase all of that.
Well, it's because those search engines are controlled.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, so.
No, but just the fact that they're gonna put that much effort into it. You know what I mean? Like that much effort to keep that part of history hidden.
Yeah.
Just so that they can create their own. That's like that's crazy talk. That is some crazy ass stuff right there.
Black empowerment is not anti-white. And a lot of people have to understand that, because when we say stuff like, yo, Black Lives Matter, and we're boosting this stuff, like some white people, not a lot of them, but some white people will come up, all lives matter, and this and that. And it's like, no, you're not suffering.
Yeah.
You're privileged.
Yes.
If you want to make a difference and stuff like that, use your white privilege and help somebody who's unfortunate, who doesn't look like you.
Or who needs you to step in front of them.
All lives matter is right. But right now, it's Black Lives Matter.
Yep.
You know, because that's what's going on. You know what I mean? So like, it's like, we can't even have that. The moment we say that, it's like they're coming out of the bushes. No, all lives matter. Yeah. Like, we're all the same. Come on. But in other situations, we're not all the same.
No.
We're all the same when it's convenient for you.
Yes. When it's convenient, then everybody's the same.
You know what I mean? And that's one of the issues. The problem the problem with this right now is with racism, it's the elephant in the room. Okay? If it's not talked about constantly, nothing will be done about it. The problem with racism is you don't see yourself in that person. That's the problem.
You don't see yourself in that racist as they're talking? Is that what it is? Or they don't see themselves in
you. You don't see that person as a human being. A white person or even a Black person. Well, Black people could never be racist. I don't care what people say. Black people could never be racist. Why? We were the ones that were oppressed. It wasn't white people in the field. They were in the house. Slave owners were white. Black people could never be racist.
So you don't think that there's what's the reverse racism?
No.
That you don't believe that?
No.
At all?
No.
Because I have been a victim of racism from both sides. Because I look white, and so I've had other Spanish and Black talk shit about me because they thought I was white because of my skin.
Yeah.
And then the white people, I look white, but as soon as I open my mouth, it's like, oh, she's a Hispanic.
And that's right. It's a division with color. Because you're right, it does happen with Hispanics. You know what I mean? Like I've dated Hispanic females in when I was like in my teens, and like the mothers are like, oh snap, like You with that negrito? Like, you know what I mean? Like, they have a problem with that.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? It's like, even if you speak the same language as them, you have the same upbringing
Yes.
and culture.
It's just a different
it's the
color. Right.
You know, because like one girl that I dated was like, she was like, oh, we can't date anymore because my mom is racist. And I'm like, I'm trying to understand, like, yo, why is she like this? It's because we see so many stuff in the news about black men and stuff like that. They're incarcerated and they're doing bad things. So that's, you know, in her subconscious. It's not verbatim. I'm just paraphrasing. It's in her subconscious, you know, that's what's being embedded. And that's a fact. It's not a fact, but that's what's going on.
Yes.
You understand?
That the parents are. Yeah.
Yeah.
My parents like that. I was like the United Nations.
Yeah, they're gonna have their preconceived notions. They're gonna have the preconceived notions about you. But them having their preconceived notions about you, you can't help that. You're gonna have to try to eradicate that by letting them absorb your energy,
Get to know you,
proving them wrong. That's the only way. Because me, I'm walking down the street, I'm tatted. Automatically, a white person who's from, let's say, Beverly Hills, they never been to Crenshaw or Compton or Flatbush, Brooklyn, Brownsville, right? They just grew up in Beverly Hills all their life. They might see me and be like, "Oh, he's gonna probably murder me or steal something. Let me go over here."
That's true.
They're walking on the same sidewalk. No, let me go over here. You know what I mean?
They could also be basing it on the person's face because you are always so serious.
Stop it.
I'm just saying.
Stop it.
All right. So wait, let me go back to what you were saying, that you dated, Spanish girls in the past. Now I'm assuming that they were lighter skin.
Yeah.
Okay. So when you brought them home, did your family ever talk shit about what is he doing with a white girl?
Mm-mm.
Nobody?
No, because my parents went through that. Asian, Dominican, like they went through that themselves.
Is your mom a lot lighter than your dad?
Is lighter than my dad, and it's like my dad is the color of this, like black. He's an old school.
And your mom?
He's an old school gully Haitian. You know what I mean? Like really, my mom is lighter. So like they went through that. You know what I mean? And they feel that they had to fight to be together. I never really asked them this, but
someone got homework to do.
Yeah. They've been accepted of that. Like that same girl, like I dated an Italian girl when I was 18 years old. And I brought her home and she was accepted for my family. When I went to her house,
everybody in your house accepted her?
Yes.
That's good.
And when I went to her house,
it was not the same.
Yeah, I tried to shake her father's hand. No. Next thing you know, she's telling me like on the low, like, yo, you can't come in my house anymore. If you're gonna come to my house, we gotta stay in the driveway or whatever. You know what I mean?
That's awful.
She's breaking it down for me. And I'm just like, whatever. I'm 18 years old. You know, how much am I experiencing? You know what I mean? I'm barely experiencing bigotry at that time. You know what I mean?
I'm gonna go with that. My parents are definitely, when I was younger, were a lot more racist. Now they're not, because I think I broke them down from it. But my dad would never be disrespectful like that. Like he would never not shake somebody's hand. He talks shit. Don't get me wrong. As soon as somebody left, he'd be like, "What the bleep bleep bleep?"
Like sometimes, like a lot of old school Italian men are racist.
Oh, that's right. She was Italian. I was
you know
thinking
what I mean?
about
So
the Spanish one.
It's like most of them want you to be with an Italian man. Yo, I want a guy that looks like me for you to be with.
How do you feel about that? We just totally went on a. Well, no, it kind of goes with it. It's why Black Lives Matter.
I feel like Italian women are kind of taught to be racist. And then when most Italian women like black men. Because
why do you think that is?
Because it's like this. It's like the bad boy. It's like the bad boy. Yeah. When somebody's telling you, oh, like a let's take a toddler. You tell them don't touch the light. It's gonna burn. They haven't experienced it. You're just telling them. They're not trusting you 100%. So they want to touch the light to see why you're trying to keep them away from it. Why is it gonna burn me? You might not even tell them that is gonna burn
Yeah,
you.
just don't.
Just don't do it. So that curiosity is gonna build. Most Italian women like black men. So it's like they're taught kind of to be racist. You know what I mean? But some of them like branch out of that. Subconsciously, they are racist.
When I moved to Long
When they
Island,
get out of it, when they start going to school and you're going
and
to
seeing it for themselves,
diverse school and stuff like that, and you meet a black guy that you connect with or whatever, it's gonna happen.
Yeah.
You know, you're not gonna want to bring them home because of that education that you receive.
You sneak it.
So it's a sneaky, it's a sneaky relationship.
When I moved to Long Island, and I became friends. The first person I became friends with was with an Italian girl. Her whole family was super racist, and she was like, "Oh, now mind you, I'm from Queens, baggy, 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 all baggy." And she was like, "Come over." I was like, "What?" I have never been so scared in my life, but I did, and they looked me up and down. But just like everything, I won them over. That's just how I am, man.
It's all about, that's what it's all about. I feel like it's about proving them wrong. They're gonna have those preconceived notions,
but
maybe from experience.
People shouldn't have to prove it.
Maybe from experience. Even from experience, they're gonna have those preconceived notions about you. Damn, this person gonna rob me because I got robbed by 2 black guys in the past. This is that.
This is the one that I told you. Her dad got mugged by a black guy. And then a bunch of black guys helped him. So he was super confused. He was like, what the hell?
You said that last season.
He was confused as hell.
So I've experienced a lot of bigotry, racism, workplace, and many different places, circumstances.
That's horrible.
But in high school, I was in 11th grade, and I have a degree in psychology, as you know. So we were in sociology, and it was for a college credit.
Ah, got you now.
Yeah, so I'm in sociology, and I'm the only black guy in there. And the professor is like, he said, I don't remember how the conversation went, but all I remember is he asked me, he didn't ask me, but he said something about strapped. Oh, the guy was strapped. He was telling the story. Oh, the guy was strapped. So everybody in there is like, well, what's strapped? He automatically comes to me, oh, Edson, why don't you tell him what strapped is about? Why don't you tell him what strapped is about? And I'm over here playing dumb. I'm like, I don't know. Like, come on. He's like, come on, we must have argued back and forth for like maybe 30 seconds or whatever, give or take. Could have been shorter. It could have been 15. I'm like, I don't know. Like, you really don't know? I don't know. I mean, I know what it is.
Right. You just didn't want to give him that.
Yeah, I didn't want to give him that because it's like, you're picking on me because clearly I am the only black person in the classroom.
Right.
So eventually he says what it is. Like, oh, it means a person that has a gun. He's like, you really didn't know what that is? And I'm still playing dumb. Yeah, I didn't know. You know what I mean?
Something like that, like that's a professor. He should have known better than not to have done that.
Yeah, but you got to understand, if these people, like Andre was saying, they're older. You know what I mean? They could have been in that time. They could have been in those civil rights era. You know what I mean? Where it was that way. It's hard to branch out of that.
To break out of that, yeah.
You know what I mean?
But going back to why white women like black men, I think also because a lot of white guys tend to like either muscular, fit chicks or like stick figure chicks. Like no.
Let's be correct. Let's be correct here.
I said white guys.
Most
white guys.
Because some white guys who in the hood, hood like thick chicks.
Yeah, no, that's true. But that's what I'm getting to. Like the thicker white women, I feel like within their own people, they might not, the white guy, that likes stick figure might not be interested in her or might think she's fat.
Yeah, I was about to say
Meanwhile,
that.
a Spanish or black guy even
It's cultural.
any
It's
person of
cultural.
color, they're
She's
like,
healthy.
hey, yeah,
She's healthy. Yeah.
look at
I can see
her.
a thick.
Right.
I can see a thick girl, and I'm like, yo, she's healthy because
Right.
of my culture.
Right.
But like most American whites
First of all, that
will be like,
that
yo,
weight
she's fat.
chart,
She's
yeah,
obese.
that weight chart where it says if you're this height, that is so antiquated. They need to
Mhm.
come up with something new, because I know that I am not obese, and according to that thing, it says that I am. I'm gonna start crying right now.
You're
But
thick.
that's the same. That's
There's
the
a
same.
difference with thick,
That little
obese,
chart says I'm
and stuff like
obese.
that. Maybe we could have a topic
I'm about
about
to,
that.
yes,
You know
because
what I
I'm
mean?
about
But
to go on some sort of crazy diet.
no, because in America, that's how they kind of stigmatize you. They're like,
Exactly.
oh, you're skinny,
They said Marilyn
you're
Monroe was fat.
fat, you're obese. That's the three categories.
Yeah.
I mean, you're either one of those three categories. No, there's slim, thick. There's what
Yeah.
did
That's what
Fab
I'm saying. They need to.
slim what did Fab that track
I think he's the one
Fabulous
who said something.
slim was it slim thick
I
or
think you're right.
slim thick or dim slick something like that
Slim thick.
slim thick yeah. So you know what I
But
mean, like
that's the problem though that I have with my daughter. Like she goes to a predominantly, well, not anymore. When she was in high school, predominantly white
she
school.
needs to find the right person that's gonna appreciate those curves.
Yes.
That's it.
Yeah.
I mean that's one of the reasons why white women who are thick go after black men, because
That's what I
they see
said.
that, yo, these guys can handle us, these guys appreciate our curves, these guys show us more love and attention.
Mhm.
So most women, not all, but most women are gonna gravitate to the group or the men that's giving them the most attention.
Yeah,
So
making
if
them
a
feel
thick,
good.
yeah, if a thick chick sees that, oh, like these guys like that I got a big ass, they like that I got big thighs, it's like that. I like black guys. You know what I mean? Versus white guys who think I'm fat. They're gonna, scrutinize me. They're gonna belittle me. They're gonna degrade me. They're gonna, not appreciate my curves or not
Yeah.
know what to do with it.
Or insult me in some way.
Yeah.
And maybe not even on purpose. Like maybe you should have a salad.
Yeah. Like those guys
want
might be
rice
like,
and
oh, you
beans.
need to go to the gym more or whatever, or
Right.
like you said, a salad or whatever. Like they're not, appreciating that. So those women will
Right.
gravitate to them, that appreciates them, that group that appreciates them more.
I agree.
You know what I mean? Like they need, just going back off topic because we always jumping off topic.
Always.
They need to spread the wealth. They need to stop the systemic racism. Pay black people what they're worth. You know what I mean? Give them the freedom to be owners.
Yeah.
Don't place a glass ceiling upon us. You know what I mean? Because it's like you're doing that. It's keeping us where we are. It's not allowing us to elevate or elevate other people that look like us.
I think that
This is
just-
black to like, not to cut you off, but this is like generational curses.
Yeah. But like what's his name? The actor Medea, who does Medea?
Tyler Perry.
Tyler Perry. He wants to create, Black Hollywood. And I'm all about it.
Yeah.
I'm all about it. If they're trying to put glass ceilings everywhere,
hmm
take your glass ceiling, shove it right up there,
Yeah.
and we're going to create our own things. And I think that that's how it should.
Mhm.
Because just like you said, there's so much influence of the black community, just of people of color.
Mhm.
We have so much influence in what's going on out there
Mhm.
with the athletes. When they decided to boycott one of those games in the beginning of basketball, that was amazing.
Yeah.
If people of color decide to, what, y'all can have that, and we're going to do our own thing, what do you think they're going to do? They're going to lose their ideas. They're going to lose everything.
Yeah.
That's the problem, though. People don't stick together,
You know
or
what?
they do it for a little while.
You know what? Like black and Hispanic people, they have to be on top of their game and work harder. It's a fact. They have to work harder because, like, for example, me, when I was a manager in retail, I had this black loss prevention supervisor. I'm not gonna mention his name, but I was a young manager. I became a manager after I graduated college at 22 years old. At 22 years old, you don't really understand. I've never had a management position.
Mm-hmm.
I'm in my early 30s now, but back then it was
Right,
like,
you didn't know.
yeah. So
everything
he
went?
was looking out for me because the company that I was working for was predominantly racist. They actually had a lawsuit for being discriminate. Yeah, then they started promoting like black or managers and stuff like that or whatever.
Do you think that you got promoted because of that?
I don't care, thank God. You know what I mean? But
like,
he was looking out for me. He was like, yo, you always have to dot your I's and cross your T's. This white guy might be able to get away with it because these people in the position are white and they're going to protect him, but they're not going to protect you. So you need to make sure you do everything right. He might be able to skip those morning procedures or just half-ass fill it. You got to fill the whole thing because they're going to start writing you up. They're going to start doing it. He was putting me on the game.
Mm-hmm.
And I've witnessed
Thank
it.
God for him.
I've witnessed it when district managers or whatever came. I'm like, yo, how come the black lady store, you scrutinizing and finding it, but this white guy who doesn't look as good, he don't even get ridiculed for that.
Right.
And things like that.
Not even a verbal
I started being observant at 22 years old of what he was talking about. And I started listening to him.
Mm.
You know what I mean? So it happens even in the workplace, and I want to emphasize that. I always talk about it because there's people out there right now that's going through it. Like, yo, if you're working at McDonald's, who cares? Strive to be the manager.
Yeah.
Strive to be the CEO. Just
You're
because
still
you're
making
black
money.
or Hispanic, just because you're black or Hispanic, you know, you shouldn't feel like it's a glass ceiling. If that's what you want to do, if you're just doing it because it's like, oh, I have dreams to be a musical artist, or I have dreams to be whatever, and this is like my side gig, this active income is gonna help that passive income, then okay, do that too. But if you have aspirations to be that, you should be it. You shouldn't look at it like, yo, I'm black. They're never gonna
don't put those walls
for
in
yourself.
front of you already.
Yeah,
Right.
because when you like, yo, I've had conversations with people where I'm like, yo, if y'all don't give me vacation because I'm the hardest worker here and I'm getting all this workload, and every time y'all need me, y'all didn't need to do overnights, y'all need me to do here, y'all need me to pick up this person's slack because they called out and I never call out even when I'm sick. I go in there. If y'all not letting me take vacation, I'm gonna bring up so much litigation in here, your grandchildren are gonna need lawyers. Like sometimes you gotta fight like that.
Sometimes you do, but you have to do it classy. Don't curse.
Yeah. But
That's
sometimes
so hard
you
for
have
me.
sometimes you have to fight like that to get what you want. Because that white guy who's that boss might take care of that white girl or that white guy. But you, no, we need you. You can't take vacation. Come on. We need you. They're gonna try to do certain things.
They try to make you feel bad for taking vacation.
Yeah, they're gonna try to do certain things. So it's like you gotta know the policies of your company. You gotta get close with what do you call it?
HR?
Human resources, HR. You gotta know these things. You know what I mean? Don't be the angry black woman or the black man, because then you're gonna give them a reason to be like, oh, I'm gonna write you up, or I'm gonna fire you. But if you are that educated person and you playing chess, now they fear you. Because they're like, damn, I gotta give this person whatever they want because that's gonna be my job now.
Yeah. Good.
You know what I mean?
Should be like that.
So like I've experienced it even with like being a general manager at a gym. And like I said, I'm not name dropping corporations. Like I went into this corporation, never been in this corporation ever. Within 2 months, I was breaking draw constantly, doing something that the company never did.
What is breaking draw?
So they give you they'll give you like a draw, let's say $800, and every
like a cash
commission,
register,
yeah,
like a register
it's commission. You closing deals or whatever is commission, because that job, that corporation is a number-based corporation. It's built off numbers. Your numbers have to show for you to get promoted. So I was doing something that people that were in the company for 2 years weren't doing because they were lazy.
And how many times did you do that?
I did that like twice in 1 month, and then I did it the following month. And I was only with the company for 3 years. I left because I'm going to talk about why I left.
Wait, 3 years?
3 months.
So you broke drawer.
The first month I was in there.
In 1 month, and then another time, and one more. So 3 times you did.
Yes. So
this man's an animal.
So and the way I was doing it is I wasn't just marketing internally. You see the same clients. Hey, Jim, how you gonna
how
get
many
leads?
times can you tell them? Right?
No, I went out. I went out with my car. I handed out guest passes. I went to people's I went to Victoria's Secret. I didn't care. Women were looking at me like, what you in here for? Let me talk to the manager, please.
Did you say, if you bitches are going to be in here, you
No.
better go to the gym?
No. I was like, let me
You
talk to the
should've.
manager, please. The manager came in. She was a female. Hey, we have this, I do my talking, right? And I handed out those passes, give them to your friends, family, put it on the break room for your employees. Oh yeah, this is how I was getting people. And I was stamping my information on the back. So when the thing comes in the
they know who it's from.
Yeah, my contacts and everything. So I'm hustling.
Somebody can steal that shit.
I'm going to pizzerias, handing them out. I'm hustling. This is how I'm getting, because I look at everybody as a walking, talking dollar sign. So I'm hustling. And when I sat down with the vice president, he's like, man, your numbers are crazy. Never seen this type of stuff before when somebody didn't even bred in this company. You're from outside. How are you doing it? I'm breaking it down to him. I'm like, yo, you see this stapler? I'll show you that this is the best stapler you need, because you need it. I'm going to personalize this and I'm going to sell it to you. You're going to buy it because you need it. People buy what they need.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Like, if it's like I could break down about being a salesman, but I'm not, because we're already running like crazy time right now. But
we're on demon
when
time
I'm
now.
breaking down to him, he pretty much asked me, what do you want? Where's your vision? And I said, my vision is to be in blah, 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 gym. Because that town is a monster and I'm going to get a big bonus if I'm there. And he's like, well, why don't you stay here? Slow down. Why don't you stay here though?
Glass ceiling.
Slow down. He's like, you only been with the company for 3 months. You trying to really go to the monster, to the beast? Why don't you just stay here though and be the, GM, just stay here. I'll give you this. I'm like, you know what I mean? Like, this is when I started witnessing. I'm like, man, listen, I know business. I told him straight up, I know business, and I feel like you're trying to keep me down from going there to make that bonus.
It probably was.
So he promised me that if I did these numbers before the year ended, that I was going to get promoted. If I did it, I was going to get promoted January 1st. I exceeded those numbers. And I waited for like 3 weeks before he said something. I was like, oh, he didn't say nothing? Called him. I said, I'm putting in my 2 weeks. I'm leaving. Now he want to chase me. Oh, come on. Now he want to chase me.
Good for you.
You know what I mean? So like I've experienced this. I've experienced racism when I used to do door to door.
Oh.
Yeah, but all this stuff has helped me. I was selling Verizon. I was selling solar. Like, I was doing door to door stuff, but this helped me elevate. This helped me push out my extrovert. You know what I mean? Because I'm a Scorpio. We are natural introverts. But this helped me put out my extrovert. That's why when I went to Hollywood, I dominated. I mean, there was like, we were in the practice room, right? We were in the practice room and we had to pitch our book, Stuck Between Two Different Worlds. That's the book that I pitched in Hollywood. And like, I could count on my hand how many black people were in there. And I was the youngest. There was two women and 3 men, including me. 5.
Wow.
So, like, I'm doing my thing. I could even feel my grandmother in the room, my late grandmother. I could feel her energy. Everybody's nervous. So I'm like, and I'll say this for another show.
Okay.
Because we'll talk about that. That's like the dominant character of me.
Okay.
But like, that's when I'm like witnessing that. It's like when I see something like that, some people might get uncomfortable. Like, oh, you're the only black person there. That's when I feel like I'm going to dominate the most. That's when I'm going to show you guys who I am.
Because you're the only black person there? I can see
You mean,
that.
so I take that as like the mic.
Yeah.
Like when I have the mic in front of me, like it's like an adrenaline rush. It's invigorating. Now I feel like, I'm going to do my thing because I don't play when I have the mic in front of me. So if I see those type of circumstances, I'm like,
so you like those odds?
I'm like, yo, let's do it. Some people feel nervous or whatever it is, or it's pressure. This is when I want to dominate the most. This is when I want to show people who I am. So
you being under pressure or in that type of situation, that's when you thrive off of it.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about that in BDSM 3 Part 3.
I'm just so ahead of myself.
But I mean, it's so much things like 19. I'm gonna run through facts and then we're gonna do our final thoughts.
Okay.
1921, Tulsa, Oklahoma, the bombing, right, and the destruction of Black Wall Street. Black Wall Street was the wealthiest community in that era. Businesses and homes were destroyed. It wasn't just Tulsa though. It was like Chicago in 1919.
Did you know that there was one like that in New York City? Like
Really?
like Black Wall Street in what's the Central Park?
Really?
Yeah, I think where that pond is, they flooded it or something like that.
Oh,
I know. I didn't know that either. I was
yeah.
like, what?
But it's everywhere. It was 1943 in Detroit, Springfield 1904, East St. Louis 1917, Philly 1985, Memphis 1866, ATL 1906.
That what? That these places were set on fire and stuff
Yeah,
and attacked?
Black people were killed,
That's awful.
ran off. They're like landowners, bankers, farmers. Yeah,
That's awful.
you know what I mean? Like this is just white supremacy. That's what it is. And it's like Andrea was saying when she called in, these individuals have been in this position for so long that it's just natural to do this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's so scary. I mean, especially when she said about,
Yeah.
and I had known that about the congressmen and all that stuff. But it's like when somebody reminds you, they're half a century. What?
Yeah.
That's in.
So do you
That's
have any
crazy.
final thoughts?
Final thoughts for Black Lives Matter?
Yes. Why Black Lives Matter?
Black Lives Matter in this point in time. I mean, Black Lives Matter all the time. They need our help more than ever now. And I think somebody who may have it easier, like I said with myself, because I'm light skinned and I could pass it. Somebody like that should do whatever is in their power, whatever possible, if they claim that they're not racist, to help out in any possible way.
Yeah.
And for everybody, it's the same thing that I said in last season. And it's sad that it's season 2 and I have to keep saying the same thing. You know what I mean? White people, white people, white Hispanics, light skinned, whatever it is that gives you that pass, that gives you that green light, that the cops turn a blind eye to you. You gotta help out.
Yeah.
You don't just sit there and be like, oh yeah, and vote on your phone for something.
Facts.
Go to a rally. Go, do something to help out. Don't just sit there because you're just part of the problem then.
Yep, that's facts. That's facts. I mean, my final thoughts are always gonna be something written. I mean, I might freestyle sometimes, but I'm speaking to the Black people, brown people, and people of color. We are confident. We can be arrogant. We are unapologetically Black and brown. Should we tone our voices down? Our Blackness, our dominance, our excellence to make you feel comfortable? No. Why? Because the sun is going to come out regardless if it's going to blind you. Slavery has been abolished since 1865. Haiti started the movement when they declared their independence in 1804. We are power. Whether you like it or not, that's what it is. Appreciate and congratulate. Don't hate. But each time you attempt to silence us or stop what we are doing, you are continuing what your slave owner ancestors were doing. See, my ancestors were killed, raped, forced to bred more children, to build more slaves, and lynched if they knew how to read or write, let alone voice their perspectives. I am blessed and I won't take my opportunities for granted. Black men and women, 3 things you must be aware of. 1, your seed is life to all humanity. Because when the slave owners' children felt malnourished, they forced the Black women to breastfeed them because they realized how strong Black genes were. I won't even discuss the black man's seed and how powerful it is. It's self-explanatory. Second, courage and strength are your allies. And last but not least, you are king and you are queen. And those are my final thoughts.
I love your final thought.
Yeah,
You
but
have
like
really
like
good
like I
final
said,
thoughts.
I'm like it may not be for me. It may be freestyle next time. You know what I
You look
mean?
right now. You just look like you
It's
were
just the
so.
writer in
That's
me
just how I am. Yeah, I know.
that I'm always like, man, I gotta write something down.
That's not fair though. That's not. I'm just gonna keep on saying it. And I wrote myself, and it just.
So, ladies and gentlemen, we just want to thank you for tuning in to the Discipline Therapy Podcast.
Season 2.
Peace.